Previously Recorded podcast. All right, welcome to Previously Recorded. I am your host, RP, as always, and this episode of Previously Recorded is brought to you by Totally Tees. If you need a shirt and you don't have one, call Totally Tees. They'll get it done.
Totally Tees, they'll get it done.
All right, as you can hear, that is the voice of fan favorite, Previously Recorded all-star, Marvel. Marvel, welcome back. I'm done saying welcome back.
What's up? I'm fired up, ready to talk.
You're a host. So I'm never saying welcome back. You are just, when you're here, you're have as much pull as I do and the rest of the guys as a fourth chair. So what's going on? Anything new?
Nothing much. I'm all fired up to talk about Halloween Town 3, finish our conversation.
Yes, if you haven't listened to our last episode, Halloween Town 1 and 2, Disney Plus Disasters, go check it out. They are actually disasters.
We never talked about 3, so I'm ready. Got my notes.
Halloween 2021 is 3 and 4. It's going to be the previously recorded bit. If we were smart enough and wanted to actually torture ourselves and our fans, we would just have done 1 and then 2, then 3 and 4. But
no.
So today, just, one of these things, episodes like this happen from time to time. There's been a lot going on. People have been busy. And so we're here to just record a little mini episode to give you some content. Like I said, they don't really happen that often because we sometimes have a topic, but just to stay on track like a regularly scheduled podcast. I try to keep an episode out every 2 weeks. So Marvel's here today to kind of just talk about what's going on in the news. There's been a lot of pop culture news recently with some of our favorite brands, I think we could say, and I think there's a lot we can say. So let's just start off with what's the newest news?
Well, you and I have been playing the Avengers game a lot, so that's kind of my world is video games and whatnot. So this, what was it? The Avengers game for Square Enix came out in September. It was just super buggy. Super laggy, just wasn't working right. Connectivity issues. It shouldn't have come out. A lot of people are saying that. And you talked me into getting it somehow. And actually, I like the story.
I will be honest. I did say, I said it's not worth the $60. I said it's not, but I got it off.
I got
it
for $50.
Yeah, I got it off eBay. Marvel got it from Walmart. That has news alert, has $50 new games all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got it at a discount because I did talk you into it, and then that made me get PlayStation Plus so we can play together, and that was a complete fail.
Yeah. So I mean, it came out that it lost like $84 million for Square Enix. 48. Sorry.
For Square.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? Holy shit. So let's just talk about the game for before we get into that the debacle of it all. The game itself is good. I don't think
the main storyline.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't think it's great. I think it is just fun. Kamala Khan is awesome. I didn't really know anything about her going into this, and this game has showed me the side of her, and it made me really excited for the Disney Plus series coming out. And if I read as much as I used to, I probably would have dove into her backlog. But you connect to her instantly. She is one of us. She's a fanboy of the Avengers, and they put her in this world. And when you hear the name The Avengers, the game, you don't expect to play majority of the game as Miss Marvel. You expect to play as the superheroes. But the plot of the story leads you down this path, and I'm not going to give away too much because I've learned from last mini episodes to not spoil stuff and give away the plot. But Marvel, what was your first reaction to this game, playing this game, and anybody out there who's listening, what they should know about the game?
I mean, the main story is 6 hours. So, I mean, it's tough to gauge money to time and value because you'll see a movie in the theaters if they are open again. That's $13 plus whatever else for an hour and a half, 2-hour movie. So, I mean, 6 hours for a main story game is fine, but then the after game is online, and it's hard to explain. where you're just like constantly grinding, and that's the problem with it. It's just
It's a lot of
and they haven't. Yeah, it's a lot of online play, which is fine, but it's just very grindy, and it's the same thing. And the game's been out since September. And they haven't put out any like updates or DLCs like they've been promising. And with the $48 million loss, I'm just kind of like a little worried. And I've been kind of defending this game a
yeah.
little too much, but now even I'm just like, this might not last another year.
Yeah, the only way I see that is if they charge for the DLC to make some money back. They expect it sale of the actual game to account for 60% of the profit. So basically, I was reading an article that said that off of that math, that they sold 3 million games, which, I mean, I'm part of the problem. I bought it off of eBay, so it doesn't count. And I'm just
Mm,
here to get that free upgrade to PS5 whenever it comes out, if it comes out. But to see a property like this, this game was hyped. Like, I was excited about it.
mm-hmm,
Like, not going into the game, they were like, "Oh my god, it's the best game ever." But the premise that you get to play as the Avengers, and you're going to team up online with your friends, and you can play as some of your favorite heroes, and teasing DLC like Black Panther, which they did reveal the concept art for Black Panther, and it fits in that world. I just don't like it. It's kind of like a very armor, like
mm-hmm.
Iron Man-y kind of looking suit, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, there's other suits you could buy, but they look equally as bad usually. So,
um, so yeah, you take the game online. I personally like the story. I like the fighting is repetitious, but I mean, isn't all video game like? Aren't they all kind of the same thing? They all have different moves, but it's always square, triangle.
mm-hmm.
Oh, what like? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, playing as the heroes for sure is awesome. Like the Hulk feels like the Hulk. Like Thor is throwing lightning everywhere. It's cool. Like I'm not bashing the game at all. I'm just like I'm getting worried because they had a roadmap kind of planned out, but they've been like stalling and blaming COVID and everything else. But clearly, there's other issues going on.
Yeah, like the game is very buggy. There are issues, and people aren't a fan of the story. Like Shane, our fourth chair on the podcast, he recently bought the game, and he's just like he plays games like so quick, beats them in a day. Like that's the kind of gamer is, and he's like I'm just not a fan of this
Mm,
game. And he said that
mm,
what his reasoning I didn't agree with. He said that the fighting was choppy and reminded him of the original Assassin's Creed, and he said Spider-Man was just so smooth.
mm,
Spider-Man is on another level, but to me, this reminds me of the Batman Arkham games. Like the fighting, there's nothing wrong with it. It's different than Spider-Man. So I think he's
mm.
just being a little bitch, calling him out right here. Um,
Oh Jesus.
yeah, just kidding, just kidding. But he didn't like the grind aspect of it. That is, you have to go around and get the chest to upgrade the armor. That
Mm-hmm.
it's not just a manual upgrade, which I understand. I had that problem with Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Origins. I didn't like that I had to grind to be able to beat a mission, and that I
Mm,
couldn't just level up and play with the missions as they went. So I do get that where he's coming from that, but it sucks because this game is good. It's not great, and the story's good too. It's fun. It's something new. It's an Avengers video game that has a lot of
mm-hmm.
potential, and I don't see if it's reporting unless they're not ready to give up on it yet and hope that it'll have a second life. Um,
Yeah,
because I'm like
which does happen
yeah. What happened
because
with
I don't
Battle?
remember the Star Wars.
Mhm.
Yeah, Battlefront 2 is a perfect example where that game came out and it was trashed like universally. People were just pissed about it. It was very grindy to play as like Vader or somebody. They said you would have had to play like 400 hours of this game or like something absurd, like more than you would want to unlock one character. And I think the company was, I think they're called Dice. They
Yep.
came in, remodeled everything, and they supported that game for like 3 more years. I think they just stopped like in May with like the newest movie content. And it was great. Like I got it for free on PlayStation Plus, and I was blown away how good it was. And no one talked about it because it was so bad when it first came out.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2's story mode. I thought the story was really good. Um, it got you deeper into the universe without being so. There's some like deep cuts in Star Wars where you're like, what the fuck is like? I've never heard of this, but you were involved in like episodes. You were right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there was even like you beat the story mode, and then there was an even
Like an epilogue.
epilogue. That's it. There was like another
Yeah,
epilogue where there was more missions.
which again was added because the story just ended. People were like, "Well, what the fuck happened?" Like
Oh,
people complain that the story ended, and they added that later,
oh
like a
yeah,
year and a
that's
half
true.
later, because people.
No, no, no. They didn't. It wasn't a year and a half. Maybe they added it because I got the game the year it came out. I got it for a couple months later, and I beat it in like 2 weeks. So if that part was added, it was added a couple months afterwards.
Maybe they added
Recently,
more
if
because
they added more, I was just damn, dude. That game is like, that game is like a perfect word of mouth game where everyone was so
Mhm,
hyped for Battlefront, the first Battlefront, after they relaunched, and then there was no story mode. It was all online play, and
mhm.
people were pissed. And I remember talking to our friend Duke, who's a huge Star Wars fan, and I was like, dude, this game is awesome. I was like, Han Solo has a freaking beard. And he's like, what's cooler than Han Solo? You put a beard on him. And he didn't even want to get the game. So, because he's like, nah, I was fooled once with
Yep.
the first one. And so that game is the perfect example. So I really hope that Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix finds a fan base or a more profitability because it is a good game. It's the reason I bought PlayStation Plus was to be able to play with you. Where we tried playing it and we couldn't even get on the same team. Like this game does have a lot of issues,
Yeah.
um, but they
Well,
just need more content.
they did a huge update yesterday, and one of the top things was connectivity with other users. So
Oh, hopefully that helps.
hopefully.
Um, because that would be my biggest complaint was I bought this game to play with you, and
Hmm.
we couldn't even match up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe the reason why people haven't bought the game is maybe some people are waiting for the holiday. You know, Christmas
Hmm.
is coming up, and maybe they're waiting for DLC to be like, all right, I'm not buying this game until more DLC comes out. Like
Hmm.
when Spider-Man came out for PlayStation, they were selling you like I went and picked the game up at GameStop and they sold me like the DLC they had 3 more DLC contents coming out. The game came out in September. They had them October, November, and December, and they
Hmm.
sold me, and they came out on time the way they were supposed to. So maybe if the game can do that and get back on track, like we're supposed to get Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, who knows? But what are some of
Yeah.
the cool upcoming DLC for that game? Like which characters?
I mean, Spider-Man obviously like is a PlayStation exclusive, so that's I think a lot of reason a lot of people bought it for like PlayStation instead of like Xbox. Because you're usually an Xbox player.
No, no, no. I'm a PlayStation guy. I do have Xbox, but if I'm going
Yeah.
to play online, if I'm going to play online, I already bought Xbox
Mm.
Live, so um, I would have gotten it on Xbox. But the fact that they promised
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I was like, all right, I'll get PlayStation, and then I bought the PlayStation Plus because I got PS5 coming, so I might as
Hmm.
well. I'm done. But I will say to previously recorded fans, I'm a PlayStation person, and I got duped into Xbox to play just for Madden, and we don't even fucking play anymore. Um, but yeah,
But
I
that's
haven't
it.
been a PlayStation. Yeah, the cool stuff like they had Asgard was in the original trailer. It
Yeah,
wasn't in the game. What's upsetting about the game is that it has this global map and they
it's
barely even
huge
use it.
with
It's
nothing
huge.
in it.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people's gripe was like,
Yeah,
why do you have this huge map and then there's like 6 missions?
yeah.
Like it's
Well,
crazy.
the other thing that this week they released a new outfit for Thor, and it's like the Unworthy, where he has like the metal arm because he cut his
Yeah,
arm off, which
yeah.
is cool. It's a cool costume. People bought it and it didn't work.
Oh
Like,
my god.
so they refunded like the credits and said they'll get it when it comes out. So it's like it's like, oh cool, that's a cool outfit. Let me buy it. Womp womp womp.
They pushed the game back from June to September.
Yep.
Everyone was like, okay, that's fine. They should have just pushed it back again. Like
Uh,
Cyberpunk 2077 has been pushed back like 6 times.
hmm.
If the game is good, people understand it. They push Sony Spider-Man When that came
Mhm.
out, they pushed that 6 months, and that was absolutely worth the wait. There was no bug problems with that game. At least I didn't experience it. Um, so we'll see, man. I
Yeah,
have hope.
well, in a year we'll do another review,
Yeah, let's
and
hope as we
yeah,
finally polished.
it'll be Snyder Cut, and then
live stream Snyder Cut coming soon. So speaking of Snyder Cut, what's new?
oh, what's new with the Snyder Cut? Oh my
uh,
goodness, strap in. I think I think today he said he already has plans for Justice League 2, which
oh
is,
my God! I thought we were done with this.
well, he's got the band back together, so fuck it, like why not? And then
He's adding
it's going to be
everybody.
confusing because it's going to be his Snyder Cut sequel. So people that just watch Justice League 1, all of a sudden, like, they're going to see Justice League 2 and be like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I don't know what the strategy is. I don't understand anything. Jared Leto's back as a Joker. Mango
Nothing.
Galuya's back as Deathstroke. Like,
Dude, I don't know his last name either. Joe. I used to call him Joe.
Mango Galuya.
I called him Mangello, and
Yeah.
that's not right at all. So
It's they're just throwing everything at the wall, and it's like, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for it. Like I'm officially, I'm on board 100% because it has to be good. It has to be. It's 4 hours. You can't fucking like.
longer than Avengers Endgame, the first Justice League movie.
It has to be good. Like
Uh,
it just has to be.
he
And then
there-
they're turning black people lighter. Like it's like, come on,
Oh
like
yeah. So for those who don't know in the news, what Joss Whedon did to Cyborg was supposedly made his skin lighter. So
which I feel like is provable and should have come out by now. Like you should be like, all right, here's a picture of the actor, and
like,
here's a still from the movie. Is he lighter?
and you know that somebody in the editing room who sees this and be like, yo, this shit's fucked up. I'm taking a picture of this. Like something would have come out by now. And the fact that like Warner Brothers is silent, Joss Whedon hasn't said shit, which because he's like, fuck that. Like I don't need to. I want to believe this guy, but he just isn't backing down. Like he keeps doubling down. And I just feel like Joss Whedon, who's been around, who did two of the biggest movies like of all time, the Avengers and Age of Ultron. I feel like if this shit was true, people would have like dragged him instantly.
Yeah, directors are hard to work for. Like you got to figure anyone who's a director has to be like a bit
crazy.
Of an ego. I mean, there's the story with like, what is it, James Cameron? If like a cell phone went off on a shot of like Avatar, he was literally nail gunning him to the wall. So it's
Jesus Christ.
Like shit happens. Like I just feel like I've heard stories about Whedon before, like nothing insane, but like you just hear stuff and you're always like, well, they're probably a bit eccentric.
Yeah,
but like
I
this
feel
is
like
too much.
I agree, it is too much because nobody still has said anything. Like,
yeah,
Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill.
well, they all have careers. They all have careers. He's a Broadway actor, I think, right? And that got lucky and hasn't done anything since, and might not do anything ever again.
Yeah,
which sucks because he was great. I love Cyborg in that movie, and that's not a character I care about whatsoever. But I thought he was great in the movie.
And I think this is what Joss Whedon did. To me, Joss Whedon has made this movie watchable. You can tell where the cuts were what he filmed versus what Zack Snyder filmed because they're significantly darker, and maybe that's why Ray Fisher thought he was made his skin lighter because he saw footage from freaking Zack Snyder's
how dark it was.
Yeah, like he was good in and Ray Fisher as that version of Cyborg was good. Not great, not amazing, but it fit the movie because he didn't need to be in the movie. Like he's so random. I'm not a big Cyborg guy. That's also
I'm not either. But like I said, I enjoyed. I felt like I related the most to him.
Yeah, he was super relatable.
Yeah.
You felt emotionally for him too. I will say that I will probably be saying a different tone when the 4-hour Snyder Cut comes out, and I'm saying that Cyborg's the greatest. Yeah, Cyborg's the greatest character to ever grace the screen. Obviously, just kidding. And I don't want to make light of anything, but I don't believe this guy. who gives a fuck what I have to say? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe him. But this
Yeah,
movie is gonna be this.
great.
It's got to be great. It's got fucking uh, Jared Leto's Joker coming back. Joe
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Which was great.
Joe Manchin did la la la. I don't even know what's it. We
Mangadello.
Sofia Vergara's husband
Yep, there you
is
go.
coming back.
He was also great in the end credit scene, so you got to bring him back. So it's
Yeah,
like
he's got to be in it.
I'm
There's
waiting for
been
Lex Luthor to come back.
I think he is in it. I think he's in it.
Jeez, I'm rolling my eyes in case.
They,
I know it's not a video portion of this, but my
I mean,
eyes
they
are
got
being
4
rolled.
hours to fill. My thing is, Justice League was an hour and like 50 minutes. How did you double that? Like, how did you double that? You said that he was posting stuff about Justice League 2.
Yeah, today he said that he has an idea for Justice League 2. Like, whatever. Good luck. Fine.
Fine.
I'm a comic book fan. I'm not just a Marvel fan. Like, I want it
Yeah,
all to
same here.
work.
Same here.
So,
So
if this somehow fixes the universe, then good.
I'm willing to bet my house that it doesn't. But you know, the Avengers took their time getting to Thanos. We are seeing the DC universe's equivalent to Thanos in Darkseid being forced into a movie he was forced out of.
Mm-hmm.
They're forcing him back in, and it's just like why? Like why? And why is Warner Brothers doing this? Like, I don't know. But look for the Snyder Cut live stream coming in 2021. We previously recorded. So some other news of people who were glad changed hands. George Lucas announced or released that Darth Maul was his initial villain for the sequel trilogy. That is 7, 8, and 9. If they were to go forward with his plan, don't know how much I believe that because
Yeah, I'm same way.
I initially read that he was going to take people into the Force, and there was going to be like little colonies living on these midichlorians. Like that was his plan, initial plan for episode 7, 8, and 9. Have you heard anything about that before?
I've heard a bunch of stuff. So like I never know. Like there's always those rumors and there's always like whatever. And when it comes to George Lucas, like you hear some of the stuff and you're like, yeah, George Lucas would do that. Like it's not unplausible that he would just be like, yeah, we're gonna go into his blood. And it's like,
yeah,
whatever,
that's
dude.
like what I read. I remember reading right before episode 9 came out because episode 9 is when we saw what Colin Trevorrow's film could have been, which looked fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got J.J. Abrams, whatever.
Fine. It was fine. Fine.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was better than 8, personally.
It was the last movie I'll probably ever see in a movie theater. I think at this rate.
The last movie I saw in the movie theater was New Mutants, and if that's how it ends, I'm going to be really sad. But
yeah, what was it? A book released with like all his scripts and everything, and
so. But before we get into that,
yeah,
he was pissed that allegedly Bob Iger, threw out Lucas's plans for 7, 8, and 9, and they were like, "No, we're not doing this." And that's where it was. We're going to go into the Force and see that there's creatures that live inside the Force, whatever. But yeah, he initially, I read some snippet. You read the full article. I just read a snippet that he had released some book about his script,
600-page like vault book that has like original snippets and backstage pictures. Like I actually am like interested in getting it because like I like all that backstage stuff. But yeah, supposedly this like little script page is in it, but it's also like way after the fact. And Darth Maul's like the coolest thing in Star Wars, so he could just be like, yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Yeah,
that's why I loved episode 1. Darth Maul was fucking as little as he was in it. Darth Maul was awesome.
Yeah, the Clone Wars cartoons he's in, he's awesome.
And for people who don't know, it's in the Clone Wars. Is it Clone Wars or Rebels where he's revived?
It's the Clone Wars, yeah. He's like, they find him like a trash dump, and he has like robotic spider legs, and he's insane. And then eventually, like, he kind of regains his power, and he just has like robot legs. But
So
He's awesome. It's a very cool character that was wasted for Jar Jar Binks and all the other buffoonery that's in those movies.
it's interesting to see though that I'm kind of surprised he hasn't come back because well he
He
technically
was in
has.
Solo,
He
yeah.
was in Solo, and to
Hmm.
see the commitment, I feel like Star Wars is starting to turn where the Mandalorian is doing what Disney should have done all along
Hmm.
with Star Wars, where I think it's the best thing since Episode 7. To me, Episode 7 laid the groundwork. Okay, this is how we're going to go forward, and then it took a completely left-handed
Fucking
turn.
stumbled, yeah.
And some people love it, some people hate it. It's going to be the most decisive trilogy of films in history, I believe.
Since the original three, or since 1, 2, and
Two and
3
three, yeah.
episode, yeah.
It's just because of the fan base. The fan base is just,
It's
it's
any
just.
fan base. It's yeah. Any
But I
the
feel
fans are
like
the worst enemy.
I do. They are with any Marvel, DC, Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever. I
Hmm.
just feel like there's a special, and I don't know if it's because I read more into it, toxicity with the Star Wars fan base. I don't know if that's personally just me.
Yeah, it's everything. Like I watch Doctor Who, and it's like that kind of
That's true.
stuff. I know Star Trek. It's just because it can't please everyone,
Yeah,
and it becomes like a living entity that you think belongs to you, but it
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
Like
and
love it or hate
that's
it, that's if George Lucas wanted to go into the fucking midichlorian space cells, then that's what he wanted to do. It's his story. Like you can't get mad about it.
and
Like
all you fuckers would have been there in the seats sitting.
oh yeah, I would have been in his CGI filled fucking fuckfest and been like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah, but the Mandalorian's the best thing because like they've the season 2 to me has improved over season 1, at least with the first. We're recording this at the time of the first 2 episodes are out.
Hmm.
Season 1 to me was very very cool, and
Hmm.
it dove into the universe, but it was very okay here, mission to mission, not really plot based.
Hmm.
But season 2 is full forward plot based. Where episode 1 we got Timothy Oliphant's character who was in a book. Um, they took a character from a book, maybe one book, maybe there's more,
Yeah,
and
no,
brought him
no
to
one
the
read.
screen. That no one read. Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody read. But the people who are in control of Star Wars right now have read that and
Hmm.
are huge dorks. Like they are huge Star Wars fans. You got Dave Filoni, who's a genius. And again, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but just if you watched the gallery of The Mandalorian, just hearing him talk about episode 1 and about his work on Clone Wars made me
Hmm.
be like, why the fuck don't I know everything about Star
Yeah,
Wars?
I watched that just because you recommend it, and it was like his explanation of why episodes 1, 2, 3 work with 7, 8, 9. I was like, oh shit! Like he made sense. Whether or not
Yeah,
he's right, it's just
yeah,
like,
he's like that.
oh
That's what
okay.
Lucas told him. So
Hmm.
like whatever. Um, and just seeing what they're doing and being able to explore this world and season 2 is more plot focused where okay it's like he's on a mission to find more Mandalorians to get the child back to where he needs to get to, and I'm
Hmm.
all for that. Episode 1 was awesome. Episode 2 was awesome too, but it was definitely a filler episode. Have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah. I watched it last night actually. I liked it. I
I
think
liked it too. In terms of plot, not
yeah.
much happened, but it was cool. It introduced the. It's funny. The subtitles just said "Frog Lady screams." Like they didn't
Hmm.
even give her a name, which I love that. And then you got the child trying to commit genocide.
Yeah, which
Those
is a big
eggs, which was
controversy today.
yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. I did see that. But it's like it's his nature to eat. I'm pretty sure Yoda eats a frog in episode 5.
Yeah.
Like it's and he does in episode 1 in season 1 of the Mandalorian. There's a meme of him eating. He eats a full frog.
He eats a frog. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's his thing.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on this season so far?
I like it. It's like you said, it definitely has a plot, but it's still those episode to episodes, which I like because there's too many shows now where you can't just jump in or turn on any random episode and be like, yeah, like check this out. Where this show you can. It's like old spaghetti western like TV
Mm-hmm.
shows where it's just like we're the A team. It's literally the A team where it's A team rolls into town in their van. Some big boobed woman's like, "Oh, I need help. My dad owes money to these people," and they're like, "We got this." It's literally the same. Like, "Oh, we have to knock the Aprocus out. This guy's do this. This guy's do this," and then they move on to another town. Like, it had no real plot. You could watch any episode. I feel like even though this season does have a plot,
It's
I
a
could be
thin
like, oh,
plot.
yeah, I could be like, hey, check out this cool episode with these spiders. And you don't need to know much. You just
Nope.
be like, all right, this guy's a bounty hunter. He has this cute little thing,
Mm.
and he fucking flying some frog. Like, the
Yeah,
end. Like,
and that the
it's
frog
not
lady
overly complicated.
was cool. I liked when she like took over the robot, and the robot was
Yeah, I
excited.
love practical effects too.
Me too. And
I
they,
love that they used the cheesy bug
hmm
from the original like movies. I love that the frog lady, like besides her jumping, which was fine, is just a puppet.
yeah,
Yoda is literally a doll. Like
yeah,
he's not
he's an
anything overly
animatronic.
complicated.
And there's
Barely, like he
some
picks him up and it's
scenes,
a toy. Like,
yeah, there's some scenes that they do CGI and it's good, but this team is committed to keeping that nostalgia Star Wars effect. Where you said recently, like you rewatched 1, 2, and 3, and the CGI is just so bad,
yeah, it's so
and it is.
dated. Yeah.
And I'll take that. I'm like, when I'm watching Star Wars, I'm like, oh, this is Star Wars. Like, does the frog lady look realistic or some whatever you want to say? No, but
Hmm.
you know that it's a practical effect that it
It'll
looks,
last longer
yeah,
than,
than some CGI could.
yeah, some CGI.
I agree, and about I think it adds to the aesthetic of Star Wars, that
Hmm.
why people like it. And I do agree with your point about you can jump in at any episode and not be confused, not be super confused. I just be like, okay, he's looking for more of himself, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, I got this. Um, and I think that is actually the point that they are telling this story, because Favreau said this is a chapter installment, and it's one chapter. Each episode is
Hmm.
called Chapter One, blah blah blah. And I think that that's how they're looking at it, as it is a spaghetti western. It is serial storytelling, and it's not overly complicated. Like, I'm not sitting there being like, "What did
Hmm. Yeah,
what
it's
was
not Game
that?"
of Thrones where
It's like
you
Game of
have to.
Thrones. It's not
Yeah.
Westworld. It's super enjoyable TV that anybody of any age can watch, sit down, and enjoy and like. It's a perfect for Disney Plus. They want to market this to everybody. To me, The Mandalorian is a show for everyone. Everybody might not
Oh
like
yeah.
it, but it's got action, it's got adventure, it's got humor, and it's got cool stuff. And
Hmm.
people just watch it because it's Star Wars.
And it's Baby
Um,
Yoda.
and Baby Yoda, exactly.
Yeah,
The
that's it.
fucking phenomenon of the last two
Yeah.
years has been Baby Yoda. So I'm excited to see that going forward. And I guess I'm excited. I will say I was talking to somebody I work with that I'm excited that while it would have been cool to see Mole in 7, 8, and 9, I am glad that the Skywalker story is over. It needed to be told. It needed to be finished, and it went maybe 2 episodes too long, in my opinion.
Yeah, just whatever.
And it can end. It could have been fine with episodes 3, 4, and 5. I mean,
Hmm.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, it just milk
So,
that cow for everything it's got, and then
and speaking of
start
milk,
over.
yeah, speaking of milking a cow, um, news in the Fantastic Beasts series.
Oh baby, here we go.
um, for those who are unaware, Johnny Depp was asked to leave Fantastic Beasts 3. His role of Gellert Grindelwald is now being recast. Johnny Depp released a letter on Instagram stating that he was committed to the role, but Warner Brothers had asked him to leave because of his personal life, which that's a shit show aside. That if they're going to
Mm.
ask him to leave, they might as well ask Amber Heard to leave, Aquaman too, because at least Johnny Depp's a good actor. She sucks. Um, so they haven't recast him yet, but he's going to get paid his full salary because he did one scene, like one shot for the new movie or something like that. That he has to get paid the entire thing. So
So why not get rid of what's his name too, who beat up that woman in a bar? Like,
which one? I mean, there's
what's
so
her
many.
name? The Flash, Ezra, the cause of
Oh,
COVID. Yeah,
because
like get rid of him.
yeah, Ezra Miller got away with murder. We've said this on the podcast before. COVID happening was the best thing to ever happen to Ezra Miller because everybody forgot that he strangled the shit out of some fan. So that's the real crime of 2020 is that Ezra Miller was not prosecuted, and we're getting more fucking Flash movies from him.
Hmm.
So the role of Gellert Grindelwald is going to be recast, and over the weekend, actually, Luke Hemsworth was spotted celebrating his birthday, and he had the shade. He had the Grindelwald look, kind of like the Peaky Blinders, hair slicked back. And my friend, and he had a mustache. And my friend said to me, he looks like he could play. Number one fan of the show, Nikki, looks like he could play Grindelwald. And I was like, yo, that shit is spot on. He would look fantastic. But I have a better chance of winning the lottery than Luke Hemsworth getting cast as Gellert Grindelwald.
And that would have been quick. He would have had some inside information there.
Oh, that was just his look. I was just saying
Okay.
he looked like he could play the role. But Mads Mikkelsen, right?
Yep.
Is in
He's the
talks.
rumor now. Yep.
And when I first saw that, I was like, whatever. And you were like, I'm fucking all for this. And I thought about it some more. And I was like, you know what? This could work. He is cool. He is creepy. Like, he could play this role well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a huge Mads Mikkelsen fan. I used to watch, what was it, Hannibal when it was on NBC?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was good. Like, no one, I think at the time it was big, but no one really talked about that show too much. And I think that was kind of his first kind of breakout. And he was fantastic in it. Like, he was creepy. Like, he wasn't doing like an impersonation of like from the movies. It was more the book. And he was great. He was creepy. He was like charming. And then what? He showed up in Rogue One. And then
he was
in Doctor Strange, he showed up. So
he was in Casino Royale too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was just right before Hannibal, which he's good in everything he's in. Like,
yeah,
he's been a part of blockbusters. He was in Rogue One, Doctor Strange, so he very easily could just join in and.
Yeah, the movies are a disaster, but I wish him all the best. The more roles he has, the better. I mean, I won't even see it because the first one, me and my and we're big Potter fans. We watched it, and I'm like, that movie wasn't good. And then we didn't even finish the second one. I had zero interest. I didn't know what was happening. Flash, I thought was dead, is all of a sudden alive, and he's a fucking blob. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I like the first one. I've said this on this podcast many times. I enjoyed Fantastic Beasts 1 for what it was, and it was teasing the future, and I was like, okay, cool, this is a good movie. It's enjoyable for me.
I enjoy the world.
Yeah. The world, yeah. And,
I'll give it that.
But then two, like, even they made a point in the first one to not call the Ministry of Magic in America the American Ministry of Magic. They called it the MACUSA. The second one opens up the American Ministry of Magic or something like that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You spend the entire first one like emphasizing MACUSA, and the first scene in the second one is you forget.
And it was all downhill from there. And RP walked out of theater.
I wish I walked out then. I have said to, not on the air because I don't want anybody to ever hold this against me, the movie is not bad if she didn't fuck with her own canon. She fucked with her own canon, and that is why I don't like that movie. There's so much that doesn't make sense. There's so much that is unnecessary. Why include, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, Bellatrix Lestrange's niece or mother or something, Leta Lestrange, and they kill her, and that kills off the Lestrange line. So you can't you can't just kill somebody and bring them back the next movie like you did with Credence, because that shit didn't make. Well, they kind of teased that a little bit of the whatever he was got away.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I don't want to spend any more time talking about this movie.
It needs to be.
It ended on a huge cliffhanger.
It needs to be taken away from JK.
It does. It needs to be Lucas. She needs to be Lucas.
Yeah.
She never will.
She's gonna become the midichlorian. We're the next Fantastic Beasts. They're gonna tie the two movies together. It's whatever. The world of Harry Potter is amazing. She's a mess recently for her own issues we talked about before. The Fantastic Beasts line, it could be great, but it's just, I don't know. It's just not. It's not as. I don't know what it is, because I enjoy Newt Scamander. I enjoy the characters in it, but I don't know why those movies don't click for me.
You know what does it for me? That Harry Potter came out first, and these witches and wizards are in the 20th century, 21st century, wearing robes and looking all kooky. And back when they were younger, they're wearing suits and they are looking all spiffy. What changed that they decided, you know what, I'm going to ditch the suit and wear this purple robe and this giant wizard hat? I don't get it. I
I
don't get
mean,
it. You know what? They wanted to look like they were in Halloween Town because
yeah,
J.K.
that
Rowling
J.K. Rowling stole
stole
Harry
Harry
Potter,
Potter.
but
Um,
that part of Harry Potter's like lore, I was just always confused by. It's like, why? Like, you live among Muggles, kind of. Like, you're in the world. Like, you're on planet Earth. It's not a completely different dimension. So it's like for Ron's dad to be like, "Whoa, what's a rubber
what
duck?" It's
is
like,
the
you've probably
function?
seen a rubber duck.
What is the function of a rubber duck?
Like
Like,
you go in a toilet. Like in that world, it's not a completely different planet or dimension. Like
yeah,
I don't
and
know.
some
Like
of that
I don't
has
live in Europe, but I know of like European things.
yeah, it's some of
Like,
exactly. And some of the world expanded and they got more kind of normal where they're wearing suits and normal clothes and not just robes
mm-hmm,
24/7. And that's whatever. That's just the wizarding world. I don't
mm-hmm,
care. But it's simple stuff, but like the thing I've always thought about is why do the people in the wizarding world know how to like who teaches them how to read and math? Like things that you need in your everyday life.
mm-hmm.
Like, you just go to wizarding school and learn Reparo and shit like that.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's
You know what? You can't have the internet in the wizard world. Like, look
yeah,
up what a rubber duck is. It's just like
yeah,
you have to take Muggle studies to learn about
yeah.
rubber
Seriously,
ducks.
what the
Like,
fuck? Um, and I and moving away from the Harry Potter like world, there's this huge world, and they're still going to do the rumor that broke on this podcast. With the episode crossover with Half Drunk Podcast, that they're going to be doing a potentially the rumor is a Jude Law young Dumbledore show. Why?
on what
Why?
though? Is HBO Max or
Hmm.
Plus picking that up? Probably.
Yeah, HBO Max. They want
Yeah,
to do a Harry Potter show.
they need content.
Just
It's
fucking
which is,
take it away from her.
but what's dumb about that is where again, like you can do anything in that universe. It's almost the same problem with Star Wars sometimes because I always talk about that, where it's like when they did Rogue One and like the two bartenders from Episode 4 walk by, and you're just
Yeah.
like, what are the odds? Like the galaxy is ginormous, and like I hate even on the Mandalorian, I hate that he goes to Tatooine every 2 episodes, where it's like there has to be other planets. Like
Yeah.
that have cool stuff. Like I know he has to go there with Boba Fett, but in the first season he went there, and I'm just like, all right, we're gonna go Tatooine, we're gonna see the bar, and we're gonna see like like you remember that? Like it's just,
Hmm.
and it's the same thing with Harry Potter. It's like I don't need Dumbledore
No, but
because they're gonna shoehorn in Harry Potter's parents, and they're gonna show Harry Potter's a baby, and they'll be like, oh my god, look, it's Harry, and people are gonna lose their minds. And
I did like in the newest episode, like of the Mandalorian, where they touch on okay, well, you have the Republic, like you have the two starfighters show up, or the two X-wings show up,
mm-hmm,
and it's just like okay, this is the world, like this exists. It's not the main focus of the show, and
mm-hmm.
I would love to see that with more Harry Potter stuff.
Well, with the Harry Potter game coming out,
Yeah, that game
that's
awesome,
cool. Set
but
500 years before. Like if it somehow
it,
ties into Harry
it's
Potter, I'm gonna lose my mind.
it's the early 1800s, so I'm expecting a young Dumbledore to show up at some point.
I hope you fight him.
He's the bully, and you got
He's
to
the
take him
bad
down.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the part of Johnny Depp leaving, I think, is their chance. They know they cannot disassociate from J.K. So that they hope that if they could disassociate from him, maybe that'll help the box office because it was the lowest grossing Harry Potter universe movie of all time with $650 million. So we'll see what happens. We will see.
Nothing's gonna happen.
No.
She has a new book she came out with this week, like a whole new fantasy series. That's the next movie. Move on.
What is it? Is it the one where she kills the? What was in the news for her having
No,
a
not
trans?
the. She
Is
actually
this
wrote.
the Ichabod? Is it
Yeah,
that one?
Ichabod. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a new
that's her new
children's.
franchise. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna move
So
on from Harry Potter.
that was something she would read to like her kids that she wrote and decided to release it.
Yeah.
I
They're
don't know.
bags of money. Well, that's how The Hobbit came out. So,
Yeah, that's
and The
true.
Hobbit's a classic. So,
Hobbit is a classic.
not the
We'll
movie,
see.
it's the book.
I'm sure there'll be some trans killer sociopath in the Ichabod or something.
Yeah,
And
and then
people will hate her.
and then Harry Potter will show up.
And it all ties together.
The
Um,
midichlorians.
But that's all I have today. You got any more news?
There had to be something else. I'm trying to think. No, that might be it. I mean,
We talk about it pretty regularly.
yeah. I mean, you started watching My Hero Academia, so you know.
Yes, I did. So we could talk a little bit about that. I did. So I am like 6. I haven't watched much since we last talked.
You went further than I thought, so I'm proud.
I like it. I do like it. For those who don't know, My Hero Academia is an anime from Japan. It's about a kid who wants to be a superhero and eventually gets powers and is learning how to control them, right?
Whoa.
Spoiler alert?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of story. You gotta.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, that's like the first 5 episodes. I just gave to you in like 2 sentences. But
Well, you're making it real boring. It's a world where like 98% of people have powers, and he's one of the 2% that don't, and he wants to go to the most prestigious superhero high school.
What's it called?
UA High or
UA High, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. I was very. I took Marvel had been asking me for months to watch it and to even do an anime month, like in the month of May.
I was just trying anything to get you to watch it because I knew you'd like it. You're a superhero fan, and I know anime is not your thing.
Yeah,
but it's a very well done show.
It's not even the superheroes that get me. It's a compelling world. It's a world. What's the main character's name?
All Might or
no.
Deku.
The kid.
Yeah, I think it's Deku. They call him.
Deku.
I'll be honest. I watched every season. I don't know half their real names. I just know like their code names, and even that I'm like forgetting.
So he is annoying to a degree, but he's very relatable. Because if I lived in a world full of superheroes and I didn't have superpowers, I would be crushed. It's a really good show. There's a lot of humor. There's weird anime shit that if you're not used to watching it, just take it for what it is. But it is a very, very enjoyable show. That's all I can really say so far. I think I'm on episode 6 or 7.
Yeah, you're when it gets good. Because I was the same. I was like, this is fine. Like my sister tried to get me to watch it, and I'm like, this is superheroes. It's fine. And then I think like 8 or 9 is when they got me because something like happens, and I was like, oh, okay. Like this is way better. It's not what I thought it was.
So tell the audience a little bit about just that little snippet about All Might that you told me. So All Might is like the Superman of the universe. And
yeah, so in most comics and everything, I hate like overpowered like people. So immediately I'm like, all right, this guy is so in the world. It's like superheroes been around for like a whole while. It's not like a new phenomenon. So the world adapted. So every hero is based on their popularity, strength, and like the good things they do. So he's like the number one world's hero, and he has like super strength and like no one really knows what his power is. He's just super strong and fast and whatnot. So immediately I'm like, fuck, another super powered, like whatever. And he's drawn very differently than the rest of the characters. Like it's hard to explain, but he's like very shadowed. And the guy who wrote the book, the manga, drew him in a style of like an American comic book. So it's his interpretation of like the superheroes in our comic book. So he's like it's hard to explain.
But like if
they're all goofy and bright, and his face is like shadowed for no reason.
Yeah, so like if you're reading Batman or you're reading Captain America, a lot of their faces are shaded half the time, especially in like an action sequence. And Marvel told me that snippet. I thought that was pretty funny. So I was like, it's true. It is true. And I'm going to watch more of it. I do promise. There's some shows.
Like I said, 2 episodes. That's all I asked you to watch. So you went further.
And I liked it. And
after 2 episodes, if you don't like it, you're not gonna.
So I found myself I watched like 3 in a row the one day. Just like chilling. And I was like, this is good. It's fun. And then I was looking at the seasons, and there's a lot of episodes, which is like why I'm hesitant to get
There's
through Star Wars
not
Clone
though.
Wars.
It's not that bad.
It's a standard 22,
20, yeah.
23, which is very standard, and they're half hour, so
Hmm.
they're very manageable. But it's my trepidation with Star Wars Clone Wars too. It's why it's taken me a long
Hmm.
time to get through because it's just
Well, that has a lot of filler, and that's why I gave you that guide. Where My Hero, I
true.
think, I don't think it has like any real filler episodes,
No,
which is rare
the
for
plot
an anime.
moves. The plot moves every episode. So for those who are interested, check it out. It's on Hulu. They have the dub version and the non-dub version.
Subtitle,
The sub they have just subtitles.
sub
Yes,
and dub.
solid and dubbed. Which is dubbed is really good. It's just weird hearing like a rock and roll Japanese song. Like I've never heard one before. And the
Oh,
theme
the
song,
opening intro,
and it's
yeah.
good. The theme song is good. Like the song is good. And
Anime is very funny, where it's like the beginnings. It's all they joke about it a lot, where it'll be like the first song is like this rock and like da 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 da, and it's always like his deep inner monologue if you look at the words,
yeah,
and it makes no sense. And then the closing title is always like this slower,
yep,
like, and they're like flying through the sky.
yeah.
It's totally different from like, yeah, it is like if you're not used to anime, you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yep, and that's how that show. But it's good. It is good. Check it out. And then we got a little tease today of WandaVision. They released a couple pictures. They
Yeah,
filmed it in front of a live studio audience, which is pretty cool for some of the
yeah, that and
episodes. It's
what's
going to
the
be
other
weird.
show? Like Falcon and
Falcon and Winter
Like
Soldier.
I'm pumped, man. I'm waiting. Like
We're going to be waiting a long time for that
I
one.
know.
The Black Widow's got to come out first, is what I've heard.
Yeah, which
So we'll see. But we
just
got other
like,
shit to fill the time, and Mandalorian's still rocking. So,
hmm
but I think that's all I got today, Marvel. How about you?
yeah, nah, that's it. I mean, nothing else
All right. Well, thank you
too
for
big.
joining me for this mini episode. Keeping everybody up to date. It's always fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and look forward to our Christmas episode coming up. Hallmark movies. We're gonna do it. I'm telling you, we're
No,
gonna do it.
no promises.
No promises, but we're gonna do it. All right, for everyone here, previously recorded, thanks for listening. Remember to rate, like, and subscribe. The only thing I want to plug, I've been listening to Binge Mode, and they've been doing a Marvel Cinematic Universe rewatch, and they not only review the movie and talk about scenes, they do a fucking phenomenal job on that podcast, but they're going into the comic book lore that inspired it as well. If you're a fan of that, it's phenomenal. It's really, really good. So check out that podcast, and remember to leave us a rating and subscribe, and it really, really helps. And follow us on social media. All right, guys. Have a great night.
So yeah.